and if you stiffed him in the ring, he would let you know about it. One occasion was at the 2018 Royal Rumble.
Wow, I was literally just talking about this. So I started a TikTok and it seems to be getting a lot of views and a lot of follows. It also comes with a lot of comments. Some of them like this. So I've never heard anybody use the term receipt in wrestling. So I decided to look for a video that explains exactly what is a wrestling receipt. And here's the video right now. 10 infamous wrestling receipts. Let's start the video.
In wrestling, opponents have to be on the same page in order to complete a match. But despite this, miscommunication can lead to wrestlers actually getting angry with one another in the ring. This can result from real life bad blood or involve physical receipts being dished out in the match. A traditional receipt occurs when a wrestler accidentally cracks his opponent stiff in the jaw, to which they can then expect something hard to come right back. In this video, we look back to these times where specific wrestlers gave out a receipt during their matches. Brock Lesnar.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, a receipt is basically you dish it, now you take it. Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, now it makes sense. I know what a receipt is. A really good receipt I can remember is the Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, where Braun kneed Brock Lesnar in the face and Brock hit him for real. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so that's what a receipt is. Now I understand.
Lesnar was never shy in the ring, and if you stiffed him in the ring, he would let you know about it. One occasion was at the 2018 Royal Rumble.
Wow, I was literally just talking about this.
To Braun Strowman after he kneed Brock hard in the face. Lesnar responded with a solid right hand, telling the monster among men to slow the fuck down.
I remember watching this. We're watching this live and thinking like it was serious. Like they were really fighting.
But this wasn't the only time Brock delivered a receipt mid-match. During his bout with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31, Reigns would deliver some stiff knee shots to Lesnar, which resulted in Brock getting legitimately pissed. He ended up slapping the snot out of Roman.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Followed that up with a ridiculously stiff clothesline, which sent Reigns flying out of the ring.
Yikes!
From one big man to another, Big Show and Kofi Kingston locked up in 2009.
What happened
Kofi
here?
hit a jump kick to the jaw of the Big Show,
I see what happened.
He didn't appreciate at all.
Ooh. You know, yeah, that's the way he gives him like the big chop, right?
You bought that kick. Let me give you the receipt with it. Yeah.
Big Show kept that in mind for later
Starting
in
to
the
make
match.
sense. Starting to make sense now.
He would deliver a thunderous slap to Kofi's chest on the announce table. As the King would say, it sounded like a gunshot.
Oh yeah, it does. It's making me a gunshot.
Kofi later joked in his podcast that this slap is the reason why his chest is now looking sunken in.
It's what buyer's remorse, right?
I've heard of that.
I look in the mirror. Don't let me pass this sternum on to the kids.
In perhaps one of the most shocking receipts witnessed in a match, Perry Saturn had his way with jobber Mike Bell during a match recorded for WWF Metal in May 2001.
I wasn't watching wrestling during this time.
He freaked out after being dropped on his head twice.
These are all new dudes to me.
And thus began laying into the enhancement talent for real. When Saturn returned to the locker room, he was greeted by Vince McMahon, who wanted an explanation as to what had happened out there. Saturn apologized and then checked to see if Bell was okay.
Beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Threw him outside the ring. He landed with on his head on the concrete floor.
Oh my God.
And then Perry jacked him up and ran them into the steps backward, where the back of his head hit the steps. He beat the crap out of him.
This likely resulted in him getting his mop gimmick as a punishment shortly after. While Saturn took teaching his opponent a lesson to the extreme, Diesel would get his message across at the 1994 Royal Rumble with some good old-fashioned
again before my time, but that's okay. It's okay.
Diesel would say that
Kevin
Virgil was
Nash
supposed to come in, take a few hits, and quickly get eliminated, but instead he stayed in the match despite Diesel telling him he had to go. Virgil then angered Diesel by legit hitting him in the face, to which Big Daddy Cool responded with a barrage of stiff elbows before finally dunking Virgil out. During a brawl inside a
unprofessional that is, though. It looks so
ECW One Night Stand in
unprofessional.
2005, JBL legitimately laid a beating on the Blue Meanie.
Oh, this
leaving
is
his face
like
bloodied in
infamous.
the
Yeah, the
aftermath.
JBL and
Word
the
had
Blue
gotten
Meanie
out to
dude.
JBL that in the years prior,
I heard
the
about
Blue
this
Meanie
already.
mentioned he was a bully. This obviously lit a fire in Bradshaw's eyes, and when it came time to brawl at the end of the pay-per-view, JBL took this as an opportunity to pay him back. However, months later, in a match where JBL faced off against the Blue Meanie, Meanie picked up the victory via help from Batista. But before the pin, it was Blue Meanie's partner in crime with the BWO, Stevie Richards, making headlines, delivering one of the hardest to watch chair shots to JBL's head.
Oh, look at Stevie Richards with the chair off the
It was a
Hit him
shot
with the
thrown so
top.
hard you could see the pure anger behind it. Stevie was sticking up for his friend here by delivering a well-deserved receipt to the bully.
Oh, it's a
Speaking
receipt
of
to
chair
him.
shots,
Oh, damn.
Undertaker would love giving a receipt back with a stiff chair shot. In 1997, as guest
Undertaker.
referee at SummerSlam, Shawn Michaels would clock the dead man with a chair at the end of the match, where he
Oh.
would reluctantly give Bret the win,
That looked
and
fine.
he and Taker would enter their own program. However, Michaels realized that the blow was too forceful.
No, that looked like a
To
good
end
chair
their
shot.
Hell in a Cell match, he accepted a chair shot of his own from the dead man as his personal receipt that really rung his bell. In 2005, Randy Orton ended up rocking Taker with a chair where he mistakenly
Early 2000s was something else.
Of the chair, which ended up causing a huge gash.
Ooh, look at
Undertaker
young
told
Randy,
him
though.
backstage that his receipt would be coming.
He just looks at me. Don't worry, kid. Your receipt's coming.
It wasn't until months
Yeah, I
later,
can't believe
at
the word
Armageddon in
receipt is
2005,
so well
where
known,
the dead man got
apparently.
his revenge, and he
Sure.
delivered a thunderous
Been watching
chair
wrestling
shot to
for
the
like
head of
12
Randy
years.
Orton.
But he's in trouble.
In another incident with Taker, Shane McMahon ended up stiffing Taker with a monitor on a Raw before the WrestleMania match that caused him to get busted open. Backstage, Undertaker let
Accidents
Shane
happen?
know that his receipt
Well, the
was
Shane
going
man
to
shouldn't be
come
wrestling,
later.
dog. He needs to get out of the wrestling.
And boy, did it ever.
Fast forward to WrestleMania 32, Shane got his comeuppance as Taker would bear paw him with a monitor of his own on the outside of the ring.
Up and bear paws.
Oh, and it was really, yeah.
Open jaw.
See, it was really
My
awkward to
God.
fight.
Sticking
for
with
that.
Shane McMahon, it's well known that his punches can look awful at times. But with the
Oh, is it the
adrenaline
Chris Jericho
pumping, he
thing
throws
with the
rapid
punch?
combos,
Chris Jericho
and when
gets
he
mad?
doesn't miss completely, he lands them on his opponents flush in the face. One time he did this in particular was at Survivor Series 2016, where he blasted Chris Jericho clean in the face. The punch didn't look great, but caught Jericho on the nose. He took a powder and kicked the steel steps in an attempt to alleviate his frustration.
I remember this.
Shane was even more clumsy.
Pissed me
when
off
Jericho
too when he did all
re-entered
this.
the ring,
I hated when
which
Shane was in the
justified his
ring.
response.
Dude, I jumped up and gave him like a Jean-Claude Van Damme double kick. I'm like, calm the fuck down.
Booker T appeared on the Steve Austin show and recollected that
Noticeable,
he received a
very
well-deserved
noticeable.
boot to the nose, courtesy of Stone Cold. During the conversation, the former world champions talked about Booker accidentally tuning Steve during a match. Steve divulged that he's usually patient about doing out receipts for stiff shots, but the Rattlesnake could not wait to strike back.
The receipt I remember getting back was a stomp right to the face when I was laying down on the ground. And it was a stiff shot right to the nose. I felt like I deserved that.
In 1997,
Damn.
Ken Shamrock developed into a good wrestler by the standards of the time. He was notably stiff in the ring, and he and Vader would always have some brutal matches.
Okay.
However, on one occasion, at In Your House, A Cold Day in Hell, he may have gone a bit too far for the big man's liking. Familiar with the work-shoot genre only, and not the less intensive in-house style, he battered Vader with a series of strikes that didn't look great, but seemed really painful. Vader was seen on the outside.
It looks
telling
fine.
Shamrock
Like, am
to
I
ease
looking
up.
at this wrong?
But
It
Shamrock
looks
was so
fine.
eager that at one point he
doing
left
the
his feet
forearm
while
thing.
striking.
Oh, you need him
and
in
went
the
on
face.
to break the Mastodon's nose.
Oh my God.
Shamrock broke my nose. Instead of kicking me here in the cheek, instead of leading my cheek in, he was turning my nose. He was reverting back to the shoot. And he stuck his knee right in my nose, and it virtually broke my nose.
In response, Vader issued a receipt in the form of a clubbing forearm right in the ear. Vader knocked him clean off his feet. Shamrock actually denied that this was a receipt on the Kurt Angle podcast.
Hearing afterwards how people were talking about how
Wow, it looks like a fair shot.
I'm thinking to myself, what match are they watching? I mean, like, he threw a punch at me. I rolled with the punch.
Man, do I think like Ken Shamrock? Is that what's going on? Do I
Whether you
have
believe that this was a receipt or not?
the brain of an
I'll leave that up to
MMA
you.
fighter?
Our final
Looks
moment comes
fine,
from
looks
the
fine.
2005 Royal Rumble. Daniel Puder was the 2004 Tough Enough winner.
Oh,
Part of his rise to
yes,
victory came
yes,
on an
I've
episode
seen
of
this.
SmackDown, where he
almost
challenged Kurt
breaks
Angle
Kurt
to an
Angle's arm.
amateur-style match. Putting his MMA experience
Yep.
to use, Puder caught Angle in a key lock, a hold that would have broken the former WWE
referee
champion's
was like,
arm
"I'm a-"
if referee Jimmy Corderas hadn't fast-counted Puder's shoulders to the mat. Appearing in the 2005 Royal Rumble, Puder was subjected to very stiff shots from Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Hardcore Holly, humiliating him in front of a worldwide audience before his elimination.
That was the receipt? Oh no. Oh no. They just had their
I had
fun.
no clue what they were going to do. They treated me like crap and very disrespectful.
But there you have it, folks. A selection of some of the most famous W.
Okay, so there you go. If you guys didn't know what a wrestling receipt was, it's basically, hey, you get a hit, I get a hit. You mess up, they gonna mess you up, all right? But anyway, there's a little sneak preview of what's gonna happen for Christmas. Stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. You have a good day, night, and weekend. We'll see you on the next video, guys. Bye.